Hello world, apologies for not uploading in forever. While I catch up on making new content, I thought I'd share my attempt at making Indian Yellow that I started a few months ago. It obviously didn't work out based on the title and this introduction, but I did learn a lot of genuinely cool stuff that you might enjoy and will part 2 with your help. Indian Yellow is a gorgeous pigment. It was basically distilled warm sunlight for the longest time in painting history. No pigment had come close to its ability to mimic light, which often made paintings look like they were glowing from within. This wasn't people's imagination though, since the pigment does have fluorescent properties. It's also one of those pigments that have somewhat mysterious origins. There was a lot of contention on how it was made, but the most dominant narrative about Indian Yellow is that it was made out of urine that came from cows that were solely fed mango leaves and water. Mango leaves are in no way an appropriate diet for a cow, so obviously it's horrible for the cow and is largely viewed as animal abuse. The practice was banned in India in 1908, and it was strictly and permanently banned commercially in 1921, which lends some credibility to the rumors of it being made out of cows. To start from the very beginning, Indian Yellow was brought into India in the 15th century from Persia, where it was used in a lot of Rajput miniatures. Then it was later exposed to Europe around the 16th to 17th centuries. The first mention of its use was in 1786 by an amateur painter called Roger Dewhurst. He reported that Indian Yellow was made from the urine of cows fed mango leaf and water and that it smelled really bad. Its source wasn't documented or written about until 1830 when Léonard Mérimée in his book De la peinture à l'huile said that he believed it was made from a plant called Mimicillon tinctorium, which apparently smells really bad and could be mistaken for cow urine. Around the same time, an English chemist named George Fields believed it was made from camel urine. In 1844, chemist John Stenhouse examined the pigment and reported and concluded after his chemical analysis that it was of vegetable origin, and that it was the juice of some tree or plant which, after it had been expressed, had been saturated with magnesia, which is magnesium oxide, and boiled down to its present consistence. Then, in 1883, and this source is important, T.N. Mukherjee wrote an account about seeing it be made from cows and smelling really bad, and that he collected a bunch of samples of it. Nobody really wrote that much in depth about Indian Yellow until 121 years later in 2004 with the book Color, A Natural History of the Palette by Victoria Finlay. She did a ridiculous amount of research, including poring through ancient records in India, and she concluded that Mukherjee's account was literally the only printed credible account, and that she believes the pigment had a vegetable source. In 2018, after I actually shot this video, a bunch of studies tested the very same samples collected by T.N. Mukherjee and actually confirmed that it had an animal source, due to the hippuric acid in it, which is apparently a strong marker. So I guess he was right. Theory can only take you so far though, and it's just not as fun. I used to have a mango tree in my yard, so I thought I'd just have a go at it and see if the mango leaves play a big role in the final pigment. Since the cow is a big problem with the Indian Yellow, I wanted to see if we can eliminate it from the recipe completely. After harvesting and washing the leaves, there was multiple ways that I could have gone about processing them. I know I wanted to replicate a cow's stomach, digestive system, and pee, but I'd also found this abstract from a study I found about mango leaf dye that gives the temperatures and pH that are best for extraction. I was also trying to take into account all of the things I read about it, and also the fact that Wikipedia says that Indian Yellow consists of primarily euxanthic, so many hard words in this video, acid salts, which are magnesium and calcium. I decided I'll just use a combination of those things and just hope for the best. I started by cutting up the leaves to get the juices and bruising going, and added a bit of vinegar to get the pH to 5, which I forgot to film, since stomachs are pretty acidic, at least that's what I learned in middle school biology. The weather was warm, so I left everything to sit for 24 hours. The next day was super exciting because you can see that the water had turned pretty orange already. Definitely a good sign. The pH had risen to 6.5, not sure why, but it was fine as it was still on the acidic side. I decided I wanted to go the magnesium and calcium route. I know that you're supposed to use magnesium and calcium salts, but it was way too difficult to get that where I was living, and all I had access to were these supplements. I know they probably have a whole bunch of filler in there, but nothing to lose at this point. I crushed them up, and I'm not sure if it was a dumb idea or not, but I tried to neutralize the alkalinity of the supplement soup because the mango dye abstract mentioned boiling the leaves in an acidic solution all the way through. I'm also very wary of pH spikes because they've destroyed so many of my dyes before. I put the leaves and water on the stove just under a boil, and 30 minutes in, I added the calcium and magnesium supplement solution. It started to look a bit like miso soup, which wasn't really a great sign, but I could still see some orange in there. I put it back on the heat for a bit. This is it after another 40 or so minutes, and isn't it freaking great? It's why I strongly contest the whole cow thing. This color is well in the Indian yellow family, and it might not be Indian yellow right now, but it could be Indian yellow's mom and dad. Really onto something here. I couldn't believe how orange it was, and I should mention at this point that the leaf soup smelled really great. It smelled just like ripe, sweet mangoes and nothing like pea. So, cow urine has a pH of 8. You never know when that little factoid will be useful in life, but that's what I wanted to be the final pH of the solution. It kind of loses all the orange when you stir it though. Don't know what that's about. Probably the crappy supplement powder. I scooped some out and put it on the side to test with turmeric, as I think that may be a little cheat sheet to Indian yellow, and it has been mentioned in several accounts. So just adding turmeric here, probably way too much. As for the main pot, I wanted to pour it into something that it could dry in. Even if I don't make Indian yellow, this is pretty cool on its own. Here's the turmeric test. I think I let it go too long. It was seriously orange and pigmented, but too dark, honestly. But it's still a pretty great color though. This is where I effed up, and I'm gonna need to do a part 2. I was traveling so often, but also wanted to capture the process of it drying down and concentrating, so I kept adding water to the trays so that when I got back they weren't dried down. This meant that the pigment sat wet for around a week, and by the time I let it dry down completely, I think the dye was completely ruined. It turned brown and beige and awful and ugly and probably oxidized way too much. It was really sad. I was leaving the country that same week, so I cut some more leaves from the mango tree and took them with me with the hopes of retrying at my next destination. I had a week-long stopover though, and basically left my leaves in a hotel fridge. I was moving to Canada that December, so yeah, there was no chance I was going to be able to try it again for a while. This is where I actually need you guys' help. If anyone has access to mango leaves, do you mind sending me some? I think it would be pretty great to see this project through and maybe prove the fancy scientists who say that you need a cow wrong. In this video, I've proven that mango leaves on their own will give you a crazy beautiful, warm, glowy color. I'm sure with our collective minds working together and modern synthetic chemicals, we can take this all the way to realization and create a natural, cruelty-free Indian yellow. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wish I could have let it end on a more satisfying note, but c'est la vie. Don't forget to leave comments, questions, or suggestions down below. And as always, thanks for watching.